I'm here this morning with Peter Boucher, forestry technician with the PUC, and we're fortunate enough to actually catch some of the guys at work. Peter, you want to give me a quick rundown of what these guys are up to?
Well, this morning they're trimming a willow tree and some spruce trees away from our high voltage lines.
Now, what would be the criteria by which you determine what trees need to be trimmed, that sort of thing?
What we've done is we've broken the city up into quarters. So we cyclical trim our entire city on a 4-year cycle.
Okay.
So you're going to see these guys some point in time on your street or in your backyard doing some sort of trimming if you have electrical lines. By doing this on a cycle basis, we can ensure that depending on what type of tree that we have, we know that we can keep these trees away from the high voltage lines.
Now, you told me earlier that you're on a contract basis, so basically you guys get the call and you go out and take care of business. How many per year would you say that you get?
On an average year, I will receive these work orders from customer service because the customer called regarding a tree or has a concern. I could get up to 800.
Wow.
Out of those 800, maybe only 500 of those action has to take place.
Okay.
As we see here, where the customer here
has requested
to remove the willow. He knew enough or she knew enough to give the PUC a call so that we could safely pull back from the high voltage line so that they could safely remove it with a contractor.
Okay. So on average, how many work orders or calls would you say you get per day?
It depends what time of the year it is. Naturally, springtime it gets hectic. I can get upwards of 6 in a day in the spring, whereas in the winter it tapers off quite a bit. So, and then summertime is not as hectic either because people are on vacation and that, right? Winter's my downtime. It's a good time for me to go out and patrol the lines and maybe get the program ready for the following year.
So what kind of safety precautions do your workers have to take in order to do this job?
So there's a number of safety precautions that are in place. First and foremost, in the morning, they come to me and the work package is given to them. They go into our system control room, and right now on this line we have what's called a hold off. It's a safety precaution for the line. Another safety precaution is they're working out of an insulated bucket truck. They're wearing hydro mitts in the bucket. Okay. So that gentleman right now is basically like a bird on a wire. Everybody asks, well, how can these guys touch lines or get close to the lines? When you see the line department do work, you actually see them touching live line. The reason they can do that is because power wants to go to ground. If we can stop power from going to ground, you're safe. So they are also trained as a UA, which stands for Utility Arborist, so there's safety and line clearing involved in that. There's also a school part of training they go to. If they work for a company like Aspen and they have a number of hours, they can then at that time go down to the colleges of university, they can challenge the exam, and they can get what's called a Certificate of Qualification in Ontario. That's something that PUC requires us, our contractors, to have. Basically, you can go to, there's a few colleges in Ontario that teach arborists, and they might even have a utility arborist component of that. There is a need for them, that's for sure. I mean, I'm putting a little plug in here, but it's a great job. You're outside in the fresh air. I mean, you're doing something, you're doing a maintenance item for a utility that is basically, I think, never going to go away. Trees will never stop growing. There are always going to be power lines and trees, so it's something that will continue for many, many years.
So Peter, is the PUC distribution responsible for taking care of trees on municipal roads as well as private property?
So the PUC is responsible for all power lines no matter where they lie. A majority of the poles that you see on the street do fall right on the municipal boundary. Generally speaking, they're right on the road allowance and private property. But in some cases, we do have poles that fall in people's backyards. Right. And many times they fall on private property. When that occurs, we make all our efforts to notify you, to let you know that we're coming in. That can be done many different ways by, we put ads in papers that we're in the area doing tree trimming, or we can put it, when we're in your backyard, we're definitely going to give you a notification in the mailbox to let you know that within the next week or two, we're going to be showing up to do work, yes.
Okay. So Peter, if a homeowner wants to plant a tree on their property,
right,
what's the best advice that we could give them in the eventuality that the tree ends up becoming an issue, to avoid that?
So a lot of the situations we have is where in the past, and no fault of the homeowner, it's just lack of knowing that trees grow up tall. They plant them in the wrong spot. We always encourage our customers, if they're going to plant a tree, to look up. look up, look around, see what's going to happen here, because this little tiny spruce tree that you're putting in the ground today, 30, 40, 50 years from now, is going to look like those spruce trees you see in the distance.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in the power lines, and we're unfortunately going to have to come by and cut the top off. On our website, there's a very good link to explaining, right tree, right place. There's many different varieties of trees here in Northern Ontario. We're in Zone 4. You go to your local greenhouse, you ask for trees that do well in Zone 4, and you plant them accordingly into the spot.
If there's an issue, and say a homeowner thinks that they can take care of it themselves, what would your best advice be if there's any sort of, say they see some branches touching a line, or?
If you're not sure, definitely call us. I'll come out, I'll meet with you, and I'll explain what type of line that is, if it's safe for you to do the work, or let us take care of it for you. Definitely call the PUC when it comes to trees near any kind of line.